Welcome to Diaspora, the show where we share the remarkable stories of immigrants from the Indian subcontinent. I'm your host, Aditya Mehta, and each week we sit down with individuals who have made the journey over and explore their experiences, their challenges, their triumphs. We delve into their unique perspectives on adapting to a new culture while staying connected to their roots. Our guest today is Jeanne D'Souza. Originally from Bombay, she has had a career in the wedding planning industry before moving to Vancouver, BC in 2021. She currently works with University of British Columbia as an events venue manager and also has an event planning business of her own. I know Jeanne in a professional capacity. The company she was working for in Bombay had interacted with the social media agency that I was running at the time. And then I found out she moved to this part of the world. And that's how we connected again. So let's dive into this week's conversation. And Jeanne, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
It's nice to have you too. My first question, is it Bombay or is it Mumbai?
I mean, there's only one answer to that. Bombay, always.
My guests are probably sick of hearing this, but when I speak Marathi, I say Mumbai. But otherwise, I usually say Bombay.
I always say Bombay, and I think it probably has a lot to do with people that are from Bombay. Most of the people I know that are from Bombay will always say Bombay. And again, like being from Bombay, my Marathi is like a mix of Hindi, Marathi, English, a bit of Konkani. But the main sentence I know, the most important one is Kaka Zau Diana. That's the most one.
More context for our listeners, that's what you tell a cop. And a lot of people in Bombay who are not Marathi speak only that much Marathi is to tell the cop, please let me go, don't find me at the traffic light or whatever.
Or anything. That is your get out of anything card.
Jail card, yeah. So one thing I noticed now that you mention this is my family, we have a lot of family in Borivali, as most Gujaratis in Bombay do. That's the landing spot when they move from Gujarat. They often say, we are going to Bombay while being in Borivali. And they refer that in the sense like, we are going to South Bombay. So, it's even though Borivali is in Bombay, they'll say, we are going to Bombay today.
Yeah.
Which means we are going southwards. So that was one nuance I noticed.
I think a lot of old timers say that too. I know a lot of my family from Goa also that are originally from Goa, but will come occasionally to visit to Bombay. For them, town is Bombay.
Yeah.
So
it was like that.
Yeah,
you had to go there to watch a movie, to go to a mall. Now it doesn't matter. Yeah, now everything's all over the place. In fact, if you live and work in the same part of town of the city, your quality of life is great no matter where you are. It doesn't matter anymore.
That's true. I agree.
And you grew up in a suburb called Bandra.
Yes.
So tell us more about the wonderland that Bandra is.
Oh my gosh, I love this is so close to my heart, right? So Bandra is this little suburb, the queen of suburbs, so to say. It has become a little bit more gentrified and hipster than I'd like in the recent past, but it's a very close community of Catholics within Bombay. And like mostly when I say this here, everyone's like, oh my gosh, there's Catholics in India. But there's a pretty large population of us, and a lot of us are concentrated in certain communities in Bandra, in IC Colony in Borivali, in certain places in Malad. Like there's certain pockets in Bandra that are more predominantly Catholic because like we do kind of like bunch up together. But like we have a lot of schools there, a lot of Catholic schools, a lot of churches. The sense of community is really strong. That's why it's very rare when I meet people that are from Bandra, that are from Bombay, that are from specifically Bandra, because I feel like personally it's a niche within a niche.
Yeah.
Because even though we're from Bombay as a culture, like Bandra specifically is so different. Like we grew up listening to jazz music. We grew up watching different kinds of movies. Like our culture is completely different. Yeah. So it is a niche within a niche, which is like really interesting. And I feel like I don't stumble upon that often.
So a couple of points. I think Bandra is one of the only suburbs which has its own accent within the Bombay accent.
You won't imagine. I was at Wreck Beach last summer and I could hear a conversation of the group happening behind me. Yeah. And I remember telling my roommate, I was like, I know that accent. And she's like, yeah, Jeanne, like so many people from India are here. And I was like, no, I know that accent.
That accent, yeah.
That accent is not from India. It's not from Bombay. It's from Bandra. And I go up to this girl. I was like, where are you from? And she's like, oh, I spent some time in Bandra. I was like, I knew it.
Nice. The other point I want to make is, there's Christians all over India, but the ones in specifically the west coast of India, be it Bombay, be it Goa, be it Kerala, the Christian identity is very strong and the culture is much more preserved.
Yep.
And I don't know if my listeners will notice, but you have a Portuguese last name.
Yes,
And
D'Souza.
so speak to that a little bit as to why do people who look Indian have a Portuguese last name. There's a very interesting story behind it, but I want to hear it from you.
It's colonization.
Yeah.
Interesting. It's a interesting word to use, but basically, my family. It's also what's very interesting is that my mom is from Mangalore and my dad is from Goa, but they both have the last name D'Souza.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
my mom never had to like change her surname
Right.
after.
Yeah.
My dad's from this village called Thivi in Goa, and basically, yeah, a lot of Goa was colonized by Portuguese for a long time,
Yeah.
and basically, my grandparents moved over to Bombay at the time, so they kind of
Yeah.
brought the last name with them. But also, my mom's family in Mangalore had the same last name that they brought to Bombay from there.
Yeah.
So it is really interesting. And because I was born and raised in Bandra, where everybody knows everybody and everybody's either D'Souza or Rodriguez or a DeCosta or a De Silva,
Yeah.
like it's so common. There are
Yeah.
so many D'Souzas in Bandra. I didn't think it was like cool. But when
Yeah.
I came here,
Yeah.
and I would like either send an email with my signature or have a conversation on the phone with someone, also because like my accent is a little more different. No one would
Yeah.
assume I was Indian. They would think like I have Latin origins or like
Yeah.
Spanish origins, and then they come and meet me and they were like kind of feel like little like scared to say it at first, but then they go,
Right.
are you Indian? And I
Yeah.
was like, yeah. Are you Catholic?
Yeah.
Yeah. Your last name is D'Souza. It's a whole thing, but it's
Yeah.
been interesting to see for sure.
Yeah, the point you made about educational institutions, I think some of the best in Bombay, especially, are like run by the missionaries, and they have
100%. Yeah.
Saint Xavier's, the college you went to, being prime example. Or I mean, in my neighborhood there was Villa Teresa, there was Saint Mary's, there's Queen Mary's, there's all those schools as well. So, do your parents speak, like one speaks Tulu and one speaks Konkani because
No,
of?
they both speak Konkani, but it's different kinds of Konkani. My
Yeah.
dad speaks Goan Konkani, my mom speaks Mangalorean Konkani. It's a
Interesting.
lot of it. It's a little bit similar, but it's still a little different.
Yeah.
The accents, the connotations are a little bit
Yeah,
different.
I mean that's to be expected because like even Marathi within Maharashtra is not the
Exactly,
same. So,
exactly. It's a classic example of that.
so more context for my guests. Konkani is a language spoken on the coastal part of Maharashtra. It's a region called the Konkan, but it also extends south into Goa and parts of Karnataka, where because it's all of that region is a coastal region which has the ocean on one side and a mountain range called the Western Ghats on the other side. So it's sort of like that culture is unique to the coast versus the state that it is part of. And I'm going to add a link to the Konkani language in the show notes as well. So tell me about growing up in Bombay and the colleges you went to, because in Bombay you can tell a lot about a person by their school and college that they went to.
100%.
Call it stereotyping, call it whatever. But when I tell people I was in New Era school in Kemp's Corner, they're like, oh, you went to the Guju school. Yeah, and then I was in HR college. Oh, you went to the Sindhi college.
Yeah, the
So,
Sindhi college.
yeah, and then there's a bit of smack talk if my guest is from Jai Hind or whatever, right? So,
Oh, I love that. I love
Yeah.
that I'm from Xavier's. You should invite me because I was like, oh, I'm from Xavier's. I'm just better than everybody by
Yeah.
default, right?
you had that college festival, Malhar.
Malhar,
Yeah,
of
that was a handful. Like, cause HR college didn't have a campus because we were in the KC building,
Yeah,
KC
I
college
know.
building. So we didn't have a college festival. So we were very excited to go to other people's college festivals, and especially Kaleidoscope in Sophia's.
Yeah, of
Because
course, because it's a girls' college.
it's a
You get to
girls'
see all the
college.
girls. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So
No, I mean, for me, all of the pieces with my education has been very much so like, I'm so type A, I'm such an overachiever. So it's like, always have to do a little bit like, go for it a type. So I went to St. Joseph's, which was in Bandra, and Bandra has a lot of really, really good Catholic schools.
yeah,
And like you mentioned, yes, it has, in my personal opinion, has one of the like highest levels of basic, like highest levels of education, right? Convent schools are really strict, and I think it really pushes out the best of the best. Like now, actually, hot topic is Jemima Rodriguez, right? Like
Yeah.
with the whole cricket piece, she's from my school.
Oh, wow.
She's actually a junior. I don't know her personally
Yeah.
or didn't ever interact, but like it's such a flex, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like everyone in the school is talking about her, all the alumni groups are talking about her, like
Yeah.
everybody is so excited, and it's so sweet to see like this little suburb in Bandra getting like this recognition because everyone is talking about it now,
Yeah.
which is really nice.
Yeah.
And
Just to pause you here, some context for our listeners. Jemima Rodriguez is Indian women's cricket player, and very fresh off last week was India did a massive run chase to beat the Australian team in the semi-final of the Cricket World Cup. And I think by the time this episode airs, India will be the new champion, is what I hope. So yeah, carry on, but that is true.
so yeah, it's
Oh, and Jemima was the star of that match.
Yeah.
And she hit a 127 not out, I believe. Yeah, so
So pretty big deal, right? And it's like also the recognition piece. It's this little suburb in Bombay, in Bandra, like so
Yeah.
everyone's like super excited about it, which is cool. And then the option from there after Catholic school is you go into Catholic college. So for me, because I was in Bandra, the other option was St. Andrews.
Yeah.
But I was like, my older sister went to St. Andrews, but then for me, it was a conversation between, obviously, like in India, like anything you do is a family decision.
Of course.
Like all your aunts sit together and everybody sit together and they decide what stream you're going to do, which college you're going to go to, where you apply.
Yeah.
So for me, my godmother, my aunt, like my mom and everyone was like, Jeanne is not going to St. Andrews. She's not going to go to a college in Bandra. She has to get out of Bandra.
Yeah.
Because like we'd like her to. And I was like, you want me to get up in the morning and take the train every day to Churchgate? And they were like, yeah, that's what you're going to do.
But local trains build character.
That's what they wanted for me at the time, and I'm glad they did. So they were like, no, you're going to take the train every morning. You're going to go to Churchgate and you're going to go to St. Xavier's.
Yeah.
And like St. Xavier's, for context, is one of the hardest colleges to get into in the arts stream, right? In Bombay. And I love to flex on it because like when you go like, oh, my college didn't have a campus. I was like, look at my college.
Yeah.
Campus.
Very beautiful campus.
It's like one of the most, and this is another piece that I feel like I miss about Bombay. I really enjoy appreciating architecture a lot.
Yeah.
And like my school is 100 and something years old. My college is some 100 and something years old. So like I'm used to structures and buildings like that.
Yeah.
So that shift was hard for me. But I went to Xavier's after that. And after that, I did my degree college in Sapphires. So also another gorgeous building. But so that was the trajectory. As soon as I finished my schooling in Bandra, everyone was like, you have to get out of Bandra and start moving towards town.
So on the architecture point, I think Bandra and town or South Bombay are the two places where you'll find the most interesting architecture.
Absolutely.
Most people don't know, but Mumbai has the second largest collection of seafront Art Deco buildings in the world after Miami. And apart from the Art Deco style, you see a lot of Indo-Saracenic architecture, which is a mix of Victorian and Gothic and Mughal architecture. Gorgeous. And I'm going to put a link to that architecture style in my show notes as well. After your education, you got into the events space. Did you always know that's what you wanted to do? Like being a Guju, I knew I wanted to be in stockbroking. I'm not even kidding.
I love that.
My family owns a stockbroking company, so it was made sense. And so was it always a thing or something that you just fell into?
Honestly, I was having this discussion with someone a couple of days ago where I was like, again, growing up, like very into the arts. Like I did ballet growing up, like sang in a bunch of choirs, learned music, learned all these other things. So I remember there was this cultural festival that I was performing in when I was in school. And I remember looking at this woman. She was dressed to the nines. She had this little clipboard and she was like bossing people around and telling them what to do. And I was like, I want to be that when I grow up because I thought it was so cool. And then growing up, I knew I wanted to kind of be somewhat in the event space because I had toyed around with it a little bit in school and I really felt like I enjoyed the energy of that space. And then just fresh out of college, I tried a few like sales and marketing office corporate jobs and I hated it. So I knew that this is not where I wanted to be. And like just enjoying things pretty, enjoying things design, enjoying things structure. I knew that within events, weddings was a space I would thrive in.
Yeah.
And everything just aligned. I'm happy to know a few people who knew a few people who put me in the right places at the right time. And I started my career at a new knot from there.
Okay. What is unique about weddings in India versus anywhere in the world?
This is going to need a whole other podcast. But everything about weddings in India is tenfold. Everything, when I say everything, from budget to emotions to people's opinions to the scale to everything. Everything is larger than life. And that's the part of it that I really felt drawn to. Like everything, the stakes are so much higher in every situation, which is why I loved it and I thrived. When you're young and you're hungry, like that's the place you want to be.
Yeah. My friends here often get very amazed when I say I had a mid-size Indian wedding with only 1,500 people.
That's crazy.
And they're like, wait, what? I was like, we didn't do, it was only 3 days. We didn't do the groom and bride cricket match.
Oh my gosh, basic.
Yeah,
basic.
we didn't have, come in on a helicopter. So
you didn't book out a Haveli in Rajasthan. Like,
nope.
You didn't even do
it. It was good old Parsi Gymkhana for me.
Oh, I love that.
For the reception. So
1,500 people fit there.
Yeah, 1,500 people fit there. We had, I don't know, I thoroughly enjoyed my wedding.
That's the most important part.
And it was a good pace. It was lots of people I love. And so back then, I had friends from all over the world who couldn't make it.
Yeah.
And this was before the days of live streaming.
That's what I was like, did you live stream it?
So I paid a company 100,000 rupees in those days to do a live stream on Facebook.
Ooh.
So we created a Facebook page. Today that would have been free, right?
Yeah.
But back then we paid that much and over 100 people logged in from all over the world. So I figured it was 1,000 rupees a plate, right? which is what I would have paid if they had come to the wedding itself anyways.
Oh my God. This has now become a lot more popular, obviously, because of COVID. But you paved the way.
We were, live streaming in 2011, like we were like technologically ahead of the time. And the funny thing is, there was a bit of a lag, right? Because it's live stream, but there's 10-second lag. And I was sitting in the mandap. It's for our listeners, it's the little tent where the wedding happens. And I had really been into Angry Birds games at that time. But I was watching live stream on my phone to see if it works. And in the live stream,
in the mandap yourself at your.
But I was waiting for my wife. So this wasn't when she was in the mandap.
Yeah, this was before. Yeah.
In the live stream, she's walking in, and and it's far. I can't see it anyways. But because of the lag,
she's already there.
Because of the lag, she was already there, and she looks at me.
And you're on your phone.
And she's like, "Are you playing Angry Birds in the mandap?" And I was like, "No, I was watching you walk."
Oh my God.
So it was a bit of a funny story. But let's pause here and go into our first break. And when we return, we'll talk about how your move to Canada came about and how the immigration journey was. Yeah. So stay tuned and we'll be right back after these messages.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Hello, I'm Chris Erdman. Every Wednesday at 8 a.m. on KKNW, I sit down with inspiring entrepreneurs, creative minds, and game changers to uncover the real stories behind their business. On my show, Made of More, we explore the challenges that they've overcome, the breakthroughs that they've celebrated, and the mindset that drives them forward. If you're ready to unlock your full entrepreneurial potential, Made of More is the show for you, because here we know you are made of more. Every Wednesday at 8 a.m. on KKNW.
Bringing good vibes to the Puget Sound and the world. Alternative Talk 1150.
Welcome back to Diaspora on KKNW, where we share interesting stories of first-generation immigrants from the Indian subcontinent. We're talking to Jeanne D'Souza, an events venue manager based in Vancouver, BC. Before we get back to talking to Jeanne, I want to take a moment to remind you to subscribe to our channel on YouTube. You can find all our episodes in video format there, right from the first one. So you were in this wedding industry in India, which is an exciting, chaotic, very fast-growing industry. I see every year people are outdoing themselves in the things that they do at the wedding. So I would dare say that if you're in wedding planning, like globally, India is one of the hot spots to be in that career. So what brought about this desire to move abroad, and how did you land on Canada of all places?
I love that question because it took me a few years to realize that, because back then I didn't think, because you're in it, right? I hadn't seen the industry anywhere else. So
Right.
I was like, okay, maybe it's going to be better elsewhere. Maybe it's going to be different elsewhere. But now, after spending some time, I've done a few international projects as well. I've done projects here too. There's nothing in the events or wedding space like there is in India. That is
Yeah.
that is a given. I began my career at a New Knot weddings and events. Nitya and Ketan, I love them. They absolutely set such a strong foundation for me. The company is doing so well. I love them so much. But that's where I spent a good chunk of my career, and I really let my crazy fly there because we had such interesting project. We had such fabulous clients. We had so much liberty. They knew which employee to put on which project to make sure the clients are getting the best bang out of their buck. And I have the privilege of also within a New Knot working on international projects. We did one project in Abu Dhabi, we did one project in Rome.
Yeah.
Really big deal, right? When I tell people here that as an agency I flew from India
Yeah.
to Abu Dhabi, we bought out the Emirates Palace and did a destination wedding there.
Nice.
And no, I've done a buyout wedding for a Sindhi family at the Waldorf Astoria in Rome. They find these things unbelievable.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
had this, one of my favorite clients was a project that we did in Delhi, but we're a Bombay-based agency. So they'd fly us over
Sure.
on weekends just to sit down and chat with them.
Yeah.
And we chartered guests from Delhi to Jodhpur just for an
Yeah.
after party, right?
Yeah.
I've not done that scale of work in a few years now. And it really does give you a whole other worldview
Yeah.
of money, of projects.
Is it like how Made in Heaven describes?
I mean, I get asked this question
Yeah.
so often,
Yeah.
but it's really not. I mean,
Okay.
there is a little bit of drama here and there,
Right.
but it's not really that crazy. Families are mostly great. As wedding planners also, you spend from 8 months to 1 year with the family before the date of the wedding.
Right.
Most of my clients, I really feel through the course of the project, you become almost a part of their family, right?
Yeah.
You're with them at such a personal level. You know all the family tea, you know all the
Yeah.
drama, you know which aunts to keep away from who at what
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
So while this job requires you to be super duper type A, organized, categorically, just know all your stuff, there's a huge element that's personal. There's a
Yeah.
huge EQ piece that you have to be on top of. You have
Yeah.
to know the right things to say. You have to know how to deal with an anxious bride. You have to know how to deal
Yeah.
with that uncle who's getting in everyone's faces
Yeah.
tactfully. So it's so many different pieces that this job entails, and I feel a lot of people don't understand that till
Yeah.
you either know someone like me who's sitting and telling you, or you've seen it happen firsthand.
Yeah. Just for more context for our listeners, Made in Heaven is a drama on Amazon Prime Video. It's about a wedding planning firm and two friends run it, and the story also interlaces their personal stories, but each episode is a wedding that they plan, and it kind of addresses one of these social issues in India at the
It's
same
still a
time.
really good show.
It's an excellent show, and I highly recommend watching it because it deals with difficult topics. It deals with personal relationships and work relationships and all of that. And I'm going to put a link in the show notes as well. So you are in this amazing space. So what
Yeah.
brought about the desire to move abroad firstly, and then how did Canada become that place?
I visited, so I have some family here in Vancouver. They live in Coquitlam, and I had come to visit them. It's my godfather, so my mom's cousin, and we're very close. I had come to visit them in 2014. At the time, just visiting, and his wife, my aunt, was like, "Oh, have you girls ever thought about moving here?" So at the time, again, doing so good back home, career's great, everything is nice. You get up
Yeah.
at home, you get your breakfast served to you in your hand. You don't want to struggle, you don't want to do any of that stuff. So you're just like, oh no, everything is fine. My life in India is good. I really don't really feel the need, right?
Yeah.
And for me, it's like me and my sister are like this. So I go where she goes, basically. And she also has a really good, she's a very famous like celebrity hairdresser in India. Again, big industry to be in India. People kind of spend money on that stuff,
Yeah.
right? Also big in the Bollywood space, doing lots of films and TV shows. So it's a big industry back home. So we're both doing pretty well back home. So never really felt the need to go anywhere. And I was not going anywhere if she's not going anywhere. So classic younger sibling. But then COVID hit in 2020 and the events industry completely shut down.
Yeah.
Also for the scale of weddings that we were doing, it was hard because like the number kept moving, the certainty of whether it was coming back or not. And then
Yeah.
that really got me to think of whether this industry is offering me the security that I need. Obviously, like pandemics are not like gonna happen as often as like I was thinking like, oh my gosh, if this happens again, then what? But it was a good kind of moment for me to just check in with myself and be like, hey, like say something like this would happen again. Am I in an industry that is like pandemic proof per se?
Yeah.
And by that time I had been also like the job I was doing, like being in that industry is pretty high stress. It's very like the stakes are very, very high. So the burnout is really close. So when COVID came around, everything slowed down in India. And then I happened to have that conversation again with the aunt that was here in Coquitlam. And she was like, hey, would you like to think about this maybe? And my family here was wonderful. They kind of really helped me move over, kind of paved the way for me. I'm very grateful for that. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of my friends here that came here to study, came here all by themselves and had to struggle a lot.
Yeah.
I feel like I personally had the privilege of not having that piece. I
Sure.
had family here. I came straight from one home into another home and I was very well looked after. So that transition was a lot easier for me.
Sure. Yeah, we showed up. We didn't know a single person in Canada.
Yeah, that's hard, man.
So kind of built a life from that point. Was the immigration process pretty straightforward? And did it take very long? Was
For
there a lot
me,
of competition?
it was. For me, it was again like huge shout out to my family here that kind of like helped me because they've been here for like a few years, like almost a decade, right? They've done the struggle. So they had a network here that was able to help me. So
Okay.
I had a lot of help from them and their network. So a lot of those pieces happened a lot easier for me. I didn't have to struggle as much as a lot of people. I'm very, very grateful for that.
Yeah.
It was hard. I'm not going to take away from that. There was a lot of struggle pieces that I had to go through, but it
Yeah.
wasn't, I'm not going to say it was as hard as everyone else.
Was it like a typical express entry route or?
No, I had an LMI.
Oh, okay. Got
So
it.
I came here, I didn't have to study here. I came here and I got a job here and I
Right.
was able to kind of do it that way. So it was a
Yeah.
lot easier.
Yeah.
But that did mean that the other flip side of that is your struggles are in terms of like not having a Canadian education, not having
Yeah.
a Canadian degree or Canadian work experience. So
Yeah.
that is the flip side of not studying here. You save
Yeah.
the money there, but basically that's how
So
you pay.
for our listeners, LMI is a labor market impact assessment. It's the equivalent of having a perm here for the green card. It basically proves that the skill set you bring is not available in Canada, and therefore the employer needs to look abroad. And once you get that, you're able to come and look for a job in Canada. Some jobs are exempt from the LMI, especially like tech jobs.
Even
But for-
healthcare jobs.
Yeah, healthcare jobs. So that's where the government already knows there's a shortage, and they're not going to make every employer go through that process. But for something that's outside of those, most likely you will need an LMI to come in. So then what was your first job when you moved here?
So I did work initially with my family that I moved here with. They have a travel business that they run. So I worked with them for a little bit. And then I moved over to, once my LMI came through, I moved over to the company that sponsored my LMI. So it was like an admin assistant role. So it was very much different from what I was doing back home. So I did that till my PR stuff came through, and then I had to go back to starting from scratch pretty much. And then I worked as a nanny for a bit. So that was fun.
So what I'm hearing is you had to do what we call in Canada the survival jobs, but it wasn't like a dire survival. Like you were not working at a gas station or an Amazon warehouse. These are still jobs which are in the sphere of what you used to do. Did you face this do you have Canada experience question when you were trying to get back into the event space?
Oh my gosh, I'm still facing it, and it's really hard. And I'm really sick of it, but I can't complain. It is what it is. I get this a lot. I get it a little bit less now, since I'm now working for UBC, and that's my little that's my St. Xavier's card, right? I work for UBC now, but before I got this job at UBC, I remember I was applying for anything and everything because I was searching for a job for almost 8 months.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a long time for someone like me to be unemployed, because I'm the kind of person back home that would get poached from places, right?
Yeah.
So to go back into industry where I'm now like, oh, please give me a job. I'm so good at what I do. I have all this experience, but it was it's kind of like a humbling experience.
Yeah.
In general, it was hard for me to go back into positions where they were like, oh no, you need to apply for this entry level position, right? Again, I'm coming from an industry where I'm doing work that is at such a larger scale than what you're offering.
Yeah.
But it came back to the Canadian experience. But do you have Canadian experience? That has been the bane of my existence for the last 2 years. And even now I'm applying for a lot of positions, say within hotels or venues. And it always comes back to, do you have Canadian work experience? But I have a bachelor's degree in hotel management.
Yeah. No, I feel Canada is not used to having a influx of global talent the way the US is.
Correct.
In the US, you will never ever get asked this question. But in Canada, I had come from tech startup side of things, and my family has a financial services business, so they would be like, have you managed people before? And I've said, I've run a team of 1,100 people. No, but but was it in Canada? I said, if you work in India, you can manage. It's like if you can board a train at the other station, you can board a train anywhere.
This has been so when I explain to people what the work culture is like in Bombay, any normal person here will say that's the most toxic thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? I don't think back home, I would have left the office on a normal day before 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
Days leading up to the events, in our entire office complex, you would just see one little light on, 3 a.m., 4 a.m., we're packing stock, we're checking things. Everyone does everything together.
Yeah. And not only is it toxic, but it's also the competition is so much that if you don't do it, there's 10 other people who are ready to do it.
And then sometimes I have this conversation with people that they're like, oh, but you should just refuse, all of you should refuse, and you should put your foot down. And I'm like, that's not how it works.
No. Yeah, that's not
how it works. You put your foot down or you throw a fit about something, they're going to replace you overnight. No one in Bombay is irreplaceable. Yeah. This is a hill I will die on. Yeah. No matter how good. And this is how I was raised too, right? My father said this to me over and over and over and over again. Nobody is irreplaceable. Yeah. So you want to throw a fit about it, you're going to be left behind.
Were there any memorable instances in the first few days in Canada, due to a culture shock or a different way that things are done, or, something that stood out for you?
I think mostly it's now for me more than my first few, because like I mentioned, my first few my first year, especially in Canada, was pretty sheltered because I lived with my family. They took care of me as family. I didn't really have much exposure to the outside world. But I think now that I work work for a proper organization like UBC, just being sick is like, oh, you're sick. Yeah, okay. You don't have to come into work today. It's all right. Like, take a sick day. I have accumulated, my contract is almost about to lapse, but I've accumulated so much sick time and time off that like the last 2 months of my contract, I'm like practically not even working because I have all this vacation time that I haven't taken. And now my manager is like sitting me down at a one-on-one and she's like, okay, Jeanne, like you have to take this time because it's going to lapse. You have to take it. So now I'm just sitting at home twiddling my thumbs. What should I do with myself?
Yeah, these things happen when you're so used to the Indian work culture. I have a short anecdote to share here. I was on the advisory board of a mental health charity in Canada, and they had an employee who was fresh out of India, and he was their IT manager for, doing everything, maintaining the website, so on and so forth. And the CEO of the charity, one day she came to me and she said, do you want to talk to this guy for me? Because he doesn't eat lunch. And I'm worried for him that he works nonstop for 9 hours and doesn't eat lunch. And I have to tell him to go home. And I said, but did you try talking to him? And she's like, I asked him, did you eat lunch? And I think, so I told her what's coming off is that when you go and say, hey, did you eat lunch? That employee is almost thinking it of as a sarcastic comment. That, why are you working so slow? Like, did you stop to eat lunch? So I said, so stop asking him that and he will eat lunch. And she stopped asking him that. And she was like, I don't understand you Indian people. Like, I don't ask, so he eats. But if I ask, he doesn't eat. I said, no, that makes perfect sense in India.
Is that nobody will get that. Nobody will get that because it's so silly and it's such a niche. But we have this like huge piece of productivity trauma that we're just like, okay, we have to go. Like, I don't think at work I have ever taken a lunch. Like, technically it's 1 hour unpaid. I should do my own thing. But I eat lunch at my desk because I'm like, oh, I can get so much done.
And it's a high context culture in India. So your boss is above you. Like, its power distance is high. So all the more you won't be, speak up and put your foot down in front of your supervisor. So
absolutely not.
I had people who had moved from smaller towns to work for our family stockbroking business. When I would enter the floor, not just like the cabin, the floor, they would stand up.
Sit
straight because I'm the boss's son. Yeah, so that was quite, and me having studied undergrad in the US, I never understood that. And then I came across this concept of like cultural context and high context cultures versus low context cultures.
Yeah.
And that's what I realized that. But let's go into our second break now. And when we return, we'll talk about what you do now, what advice you have for other new immigrants, and then we go into our weekly segment. So stay tuned and we'll be right back after these messages.
The more you listen to your kids, the closer you'll be. So we asked kids, what do you want your parents to hear?
I feel sometimes that I'm not listened to. I would just want you to listen to me more often and evaluate situations with me and lead me towards success.
Listening is a form of love. Find resources to help you support your kids and their emotional well-being at soundedouttogether.org. That's soundedouttogether.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and Pivotal.
Are you ready to discover remarkable stories of resilience and cultural connection? This is Diaspora, a show sharing the journeys of first-generation immigrants from the Indian subcontinent now building their lives in North America. Inspiring, insightful, and always engaging, Diaspora offers a unique perspective on the immigrant experience. Join me, Aditya Mehta, my guests, on the Diaspora show every Wednesday at 2 p.m. right here on KKNW.
Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/1150KKNW.
Welcome back to Diaspora on KKNW, where we share interesting stories of first-generation immigrants from South Asia. We're talking to Jeanne D'Souza, a former wedding planner who now lives in Canada. Before we jump back into the conversation, if you like listening to our show, please consider following us on Instagram or leaving us a 5-star review. wherever you listen to your podcast. So, Jeanne, once you moved to Canada, you settled in and eventually got into this UBC role. Tell us more about what you do there. And we already talked about the work culture difference that you saw here and there. But are there any other nuances that you noticed between the two places after you tell us more about what you do there?
I mean, there's so many, but like I mentioned, when I was looking for work last year, I knew for sure that I wanted to be in the event space and I wanted to be in the wedding space. So I spent a lot of time being a little bit choosier, pickier than I would have liked to, which is why it took a little bit longer. But I noticed here within an industry, there isn't as much scope within, I wouldn't say scope, but I think scale within the wedding industry. Like a lot of the companies, the workers are not full-time here. The businesses that run like weddings, wedding planners, like a lot of them are not full-time. They have actual day jobs and they do this on the side, which also was a crazy concept to me. Because I was also looking for something stable. I was looking for something full-time. I was looking for proper 40 hours and a good salary. So that was really hard to find within the wedding industry here, which is why I started divulging into different sectors, and which is how I reached the venue management space. And while I was looking for a job, I was aggressively freelancing. That means sometimes for little to no money, because I wanted to gain as much experience as I possibly could. That's also a big caveat within the wedding industry. Like you can like study theoretically or do as much as you can, but you only learn from like real experiences where you have to put real fires out every single time. That's the best hands-on experience, and that's how you know how to deal with these situations. So I was doing a project at another UBC venue, freelancing last year, and became relatively close with this wonderful woman that works as a director for UBC. And she met with me and she saw me working on the project and told me that I should look into the venue side of things. But she's like, okay, you manage all these things, you're good at it. This is an avenue that you should look at. I'm so grateful to her because she referred me to this job. And she was like, hey, I think you'd be great at this. She sent this over. And I interviewed at a bunch of different places, and it finally clicked for me at the UBC Boathouse. So basically here what I do is I manage the venue end of things. So it's so different because from a planner, I'm now like a venue manager. So I get to tell people that that's not my problem. Which I never get to tell people as a planner, because as a planner, everything is my problem.
So
as a planner,
you're on the other side of the table of who you used to deal with.
100%. I'm not now representing the client. I'm representing the venue, and I have the venue's interests at heart. But like every now and then I fold a little bit and I'm like, you know what, do it like this, do it like that, because I'm innately still a planner, right? And I felt like while I do like the stability and the structure and all of those pieces of managing a venue, I do still really miss the aspect of being a planner. Because like I'm doing so many more events as a venue manager, right? Because I have like some days I have like 4 events a week. Some days I have 5. As a planner, I can't take on that scale because it's a lot more detailed. But I do feel like FOMO from not being as involved as the events because I'm used to it. So I have a lot of clients at the UBC Boathouse that would like ask me about advice on things and like ask, and I would freely give that because I have it, pick my brain, right? That's my gift to basically, I've garnered all this experience. So I did find myself dabbling in it a little bit, which is when I decided to start my own business and still plan on the side. Because I feel like that was an itch I needed to scratch. And having the full-time job at UBC gave me the stability to pick and choose the clients and not be like as stressed out about that, like paycheck to paycheck, if I can make rent, XYZ, other problems that come along with running a business. While it does take a lot more mental load, obviously having a full-time job and running a business, but like, again, born and raised, work culture in Bombay, I got this, right? It's easier than like me just doing either or.
Yeah, that makes sense. Is apart from the work-life balance, anything in particular that you like about working in Canada?
Honestly, I'm
Yeah.
so grateful for this opportunity. They have like a tuition waiver program.
Yeah.
So I was able to do these courses through Sauder School of Business, which is a very accredited business school.
Yeah.
I was able to take project management with Sauder. I was able to take business analytics through Sauder, but also like this depends on how bad you want it and how hungry you
Yeah.
are. And I feel like I had 1 year, I had clocked in all the benefits, how I'm going to make maximum use of it and maximize my time here.
Yeah.
So I feel like I was able to tick a lot of those boxes. I did a lot
Yeah.
of wedding planning credential courses because we have something called a PD fund, which is a personal development fund. You can apply for funding through the department, and
I get it. You know, my friend Rima, who I mentioned, was
Yes.
also in the event space. She actually worked at UBC too. She ended up going back to Dubai. So
I've heard that a lot, actually. I have a few friends here that are also considering it. I think it's because, like, once you get that expat status, your salary goes up. And the second
Yeah.
thing is it's closer to home.
yeah, but that kind of brought me to my next question: that would you go back, or do you kind of you're gonna be there for the time being? And if you do go back, what would take you back?
Honestly, this is a question I try to not think about too much because life has just showed me the more you plan it, the more it's going to be like, psych, nope. So I think for now, I'd like to set short-term goals and plan short-term stuff. So for now, the focus is to get the passport.
Yeah.
Once I'll be eligible to the passport, now the processing times have increased. So
Yeah.
sometime till next year, I know for sure, end of next year, I'm going to still be here.
Yeah.
But last year or the year before that, I was always pro go back home, right? But the last couple of times I've gone back home, I feel so whitewashed. I feel so out of it. I can't
Yeah.
cross the street. I get sick.
Yeah.
It's so overstimulating for me.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it's so sad because I loved going to Hill Road shopping. I
Yeah.
loved roaming around. Like, I love doing these things.
Yeah.
But now it's really hard for me because of
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, my wife didn't want to move here to begin with. She had a great life in Bombay. She was very happy. I had other reasons because of which I wanted to move out. And when she came here, she was like, we're moving from a 6-bedroom condo in South Bombay to like
yeah,
a 1-bedroom apartment here. I'm looking for jobs. Like you, she was getting awards. She was getting poached by competitors.
Yeah.
But the first time she went to India and came back, she was like, yeah, the air is definitely cleaner here. It adds 5 years to your life, easy. The second time she went and came back, she was like, people here don't stare at you on the street like they do in India. So every time she has gone and come back, she's kind of, added to the list of things she appreciates about life
I
here.
think for me also a big, huge piece is just being able to wear what I feel comfortable wearing, which I don't have back home.
Sure.
Even though like Bombay is one of the safest
Yeah.
cities. Like I could go home from a club at 3 a.m. no problem, right? By
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah.
Take a rickshaw and go home. Don't tell my mom I said that, by the way.
Yeah.
But like just being able to be free within like not having to worry about like someone staring at me or someone ogling at me or someone
Yeah.
copying a feel on the way. Like, and also for me, I think that was a big piece when I was like, if I have a family in the future, I do not want to raise my daughter in India.
Yeah.
That was a big piece for me too. And now when I go back, I'm like, after 2 weeks or 3 weeks where I've seen my friends, I've eaten everything, I've done everything. Now I'm just like, okay,
I'm gonna go back.
now what?
Yeah.
So I don't know if that feeling is everlasting. I don't know if it changes. I don't know everything, but we'll just take one day at a time.
Yeah. And I think in India, there's a certain section of men who are causing all this trouble. But
Yep.
the rest of the men are just so oblivious to the lived experience women have in India.
Yeah.
And I've spoken about this on the show before as well. But most guys are clueless what a daily struggle it is for
It's so
women.
frustrating. It's
Yeah.
so frustrating. It's so hard. And I feel like that is what the lacked empathy is, right? Like
Yeah.
just because you've never had that experience, you're unable to even think about it. You're unable to even comprehend. Like I remember having these conversations with my cousin brothers or like other friends. And it was like, you don't understand how frustrating it
Yeah.
is to just even wear a short skirt and get into a rickshaw.
Yeah.
Like it's and the thing is that we're dealing with these experiences from such a young age
Yeah.
that your mind is wired to constantly be on edge. Like even now, sometimes when I'm walking on the street and I'm by myself, I'm so hyper aware of my surroundings, and
Yeah.
it's like you don't realize what that's doing to your nervous system.
Sure.
It's hard.
Yeah. I know you didn't have the typical new immigrant path because you had the family support
Yeah.
and kind of launch pad. But what is the kind of couple of pieces of advice you would give to someone who's coming in this day and age where the whole wave is kind of gone down to a trickle, not
Yeah.
that many people are moving. So what mindset should one have to succeed in this environment as a new
I
immigrant?
think it's important for you to just have the elasticity, the mental elasticity, to just be ready to rock your world from scratch, to forget everything you've been born and raised to believe in, every concept of everything, forget who you are, have no sense of ego, have no sense of pride.
Yeah.
Come here with complete humility, be ready to scrub floors if you have to.
Yeah.
And this is a piece I tell people all the time. And I know I have certain more privileged friends and family that ask me, like, oh, yeah, I'm thinking maybe I should. I said, I don't think you have what it takes. As crass and as direct as that sounds, I know the days I've seen,
Yeah.
and they're not fun. They're
Yeah.
not easy, and I don't think they're for everyone. So
Yeah.
a lot of times when I see people that have a good life back home,
Yeah.
and I know they enjoy the life that they have, they're not kind of people that
Yeah.
want to step outside their comfort zone.
Yeah.
They're not people who understand how different cultures work, have no respect for different concepts of people or different schools of thought. Like, I don't think that those people are meant to do this, as
Yeah.
exclusive as that sounds.
Yeah.
I feel like it's okay to just like have these concepts that you believe in and you stand for. Like, you don't have to do this just to check a box out of your list. Like, oh yeah, I want to move abroad because I need to prove this to someone, or I need to
Yeah.
show that I can do it. Like, don't do it for that.
Yeah.
Do it if you genuinely think that within your mind there's a realm of growth that you need to have.
Yeah.
Do it if you feel like there's a categorical, clear way of things you want to achieve, and this falls within that.
Yeah.
And do it if you know damn well that you're willing to break every concept within your brain and start from scratch.
Yeah. I
That's
think
the only way you can make it.
I think that's great advice. I have a lot of friends like this, whole families in Bombay. They make, almost 1 crore rupees a year.
Don't do it.
There are lots of disposable income. They live with their joint family. They have no
Yeah.
real costs. They enjoy life. They go to foreign vacations every 3 months.
Exactly.
And I'm
That's
like, what are you
great.
gonna come here and do? Like that's
You don't
different.
need this. Like,
Yeah.
exactly, for a lot of people, it's like a piece they need to take off
Yeah.
in their list. And I'm like, no. You have a good life.
Yeah.
You have a family business that you're running. You're
Yeah.
making your X amount of money. You go back home. Your dishes are clean. Your floors are swept. Your everything is done. Your meal is
Yeah.
ready. You get it in a hot plate. Your plate is picked up after you're done. Like, you don't need to do this.
Yeah, so most people move for economic reasons, and I had that life in India, by the way.
Yeah.
My parents own a huge business, and I moved away for quality of life because in
Yeah.
Bombay I had the standard of living,
Yes.
but I didn't have the quality of life. There were two different things, and I moved so that I could be a more active parent. I could be a more active husband, like run our household. And it's been 7 years, almost 8. I still hear, oh, you had everything in Bombay. Why did you leave? And I said, "Well, everything is subjective, right?"
Correct. And it depends on what your priorities
yeah.
are.
Yeah. And this fits great. Like I have a massive bucket list of things I want to do, and I've come here and I'm pretty much almost done with all of them.
I love that.
I've really gone to town in, and then also my wife was talking about this in the last episode where we combine both of these cultures. So my son speaks Gujarati, but he speaks, English with an American accent. We watch baseball games and we watch cricket games.
I love that.
Right now my house is half Halloween, half Diwali decoration. So it's, we have to balance the
Integration.
both. Yeah, and assimilate and do all of that. Let's move into our weekly segments now. Why don't we spin the wheel and see what we land on?
Okay, let's do it.
So this one is called Sounds and Smells.
Okay.
What sound and or smell, good or bad, instantly transports you back home?
Oh my gosh, a honk. A honk. As soon as I hear a honk,
Yeah.
immediately my heart will like jump a little bit.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, what? Like, why are you honking when I'm here?
Yeah.
But back home, it's the honking that is like making me relax.
So, couple of things for our listeners. One is, in India, honking is a language.
Yep.
So different types of honks mean, different things. And so if it's, two short beeps, it's like, hey, I'm coming up on your left. Or
Yeah.
like a big long horn is like, what are you doing? Get out of my way. Yeah. The other thing was that when my son was on his first India trip, he asked me, why does the steering wheel here make noise, but the one in Canada, at that time we were in Canada, so what the Canada one doesn't? I said, no,
that's so cute.
yeah, so I had to explain to him what it was and why people were doing it. But that's a great one, because usually the sounds and smells I hear are like monsoon rains, things like that.
Oh, no. It's the honk.
This is,
because I'm in
I love it.
Vancouver. I get so much of the monsoon. It's like I'm constantly in the monsoon only.
Oh, I love it. That's a great answer. So thank you for sharing that. And with that, we come to the end of today's episode. Thank you for listening to Diaspora. We hope you enjoyed hearing Jeanne's interesting story. Remember to check out our show notes for links and more information about the topics we talked about today. Diaspora is part of the Speaking Current network of shows and podcasts, all of which are dedicated to inspiring listeners to build lives of meaning, connection, and value. You can find the Speaking Current network of shows, including Diaspora, wherever you get your podcasts, and on YouTube as well. And lastly, if you know someone who has a story that can be shared on our show, please feel free to reach out to us on any of our social media handles. We'll be back next week with another interesting story from the South Asian diaspora. Until then, take care and stay curious. And Jeanne, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me. This was lovely.